and we should be live. What's going on, guys? If you are finding this live stream from a YouTube search, real quick profile on me, I'm YCImaging, Chris. I do music videos, and today I'm just going to be talking about the Sony a7III. I haven't used it. These are just my thoughts and opinions on the camera from a spec sheet. And I shoot music videos, so just take it into consideration from that aspect. I'm not a photographer, I'm not a professional cinematographer. I shoot music videos, and the majority of my use with the a7III when I get a chance to use it will probably be from using some sort of adapter and adapting candle lenses to it. So take it for what it's worth. But let's just get straight into it. If you find this from a replay, drop it a like. And also let me know down in the comments what you think about this on the a7III, because I'm actually interested in knowing what you guys think. But first and foremost, how's the audio? How's everything sound? Let me know before we get into this, and I know if I need to change anything up. So we got people rolling in here. I decided to run the Gear Talk episodes a little bit earlier because I'm constantly finding myself out and about on Friday nights. So, you know, I figure everybody's at home or at their job or at school or doing something right now, rather than me trying to consume your Friday nights. But let me know in the chat right now how the audio sounds, if everything's good. Sounds dope. Very good. Cool, awesome. So in this video, I'm just gonna touch on the general specifications of the camera. We've all seen tons of videos about the Sony a7III. If you're here, you're probably interested in just knowing how I feel about it. So just brief breakdown of the specs. I'm not gonna get super deep into them. I'm just gonna talk about the ones that are relative to me and what I do. I'm gonna talk about the things that I look forward to in the camera, and you know, at the end I'll talk about if I plan on buying it and if you guys should buy it as well. So let's just get straight into it, man. So we're talking about the Sony a7III. This has been announced for like what, 2-3 weeks now, so it's been a little while. It's been bubbling. The excitement and the hype is getting up there for this camera, and it's kind of veering a lot of people away from waiting on the Sony a7S III. A lot of people want that camera, they can't wait for it to come out, but a lot of people are also tired of the current cameras that they have. So it's going to be a lot of people jumping ship to the Sony a7III line, and at the price point for what it offers, man, you really can't beat it. Now, a lot of us, me, not even me, I haven't even had the opportunity to use this camera, but a lot of us are just looking at this from a spec sheet, so you got to really take that into consideration. You should definitely try a camera out before you plan on purchasing it. But from a spec sheet, this thing looks stacked for what it offers at the price point. So it has a 25 megapixel sensor, 14-bit on the photography depth. I'm not sure if that's video. I'm not a pixel people or like a nerd about these types of things, like the bit depth and the like all of that stuff is just whatever. Like if the Sony camera can shoot S-Log2, I'm sure that the footage is gonna be fine coming out of it. So it's claiming to have 14 bits of dynamic range. Am I saying that right? 14 bits, 14 stops. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. 14 stops. It's gonna be doing 4K up to 30 frames per second. This is nothing new. Pretty much every single camera that Sony's offering that below this price point, not pretty much every single one, but a lot of the ones that they're offering below this price point have the 4K up to 60. We saw that with the a6300. We saw that with the a6500. It's a lot of rumors speculating about a Sony a6700. You know, so Sony's been doing 4K up to 30 frames per second for a while. Another thing that's not really new to the Sony line is doing 120 frames per second at 1080, which is cool. It'll do 60 frames per second up at that 1080 resolution as well. It's claiming to have 693 phase detection autofocus points and 425 contrast detection autofocus points. Now, me, I don't know too much about what any of this means. I just use the camera. I don't look at it like, oh, this has 300 more. Like, I'm so used to doing photography on Canon cameras where it's like I have 9 autofocus points or I have 45. Like, you know, it's just, and at that point it's just a really clear difference between the autofocus points. So I don't really know too much about phase detection and contrast detection and what's better. Like, I'm sure at this day and age the photography from this camera will be spectacular, especially a full frame Sony. So aside from the specs and everything that we pretty much know about the camera from a spec sheet, it's a few things that I'm looking forward to in this camera. And not a lot of them are actually really relevant or like evident to other people. So I actually had an opportunity to use the Sony a7R III, which is very, very, very similar to this camera in a lot of specs, in a lot of areas. Again, I didn't use it just solely speaking from a spec sheet, but I had an opportunity to use the Sony a7R III for like a week, and it was. Turn the music down. Is the music loud? Let me know in the chat right now. I'll have to turn that down. Matter of fact, just let me drop that joint down a little bit. Is the music loud? Someone said turn the music down, but someone says it has the eye autofocus. I don't really know too much about it because I don't know. I get to that, but I don't necessarily like about the Sony cameras at the end. So I had an opportunity to use the Sony a7R III for around 2 weeks. Sony a7R III. Music is fine. What are you saying? Yep, turn it down a bit, turn it down a bit. Okay, my bad. Hold up, I got y'all. See, I gotta do this. All right, hold up. Yo, so that should be good. That should be fine right there. A lot of people, few people saying it's good. I can look at the levels, but I can't necessarily hear it myself. So I'm gonna just leave it right there. Hopefully that's straight. But I had an opportunity to use this on the a7R III for like a week. And I really enjoyed the camera actually. Amazing camera. I love the updated body and the things that they added to the camera. Really good camera. Now the Sony a7 III is very similar to this from a spec sheet in terms of what it offers at a significantly less price point, like what, almost $1,000 cheaper. So it's a lot of people speculating, you know, like why would I ever buy Sony a7R III when I could just buy the Sony a7 III and it's offering a lot of the same things. Now, I haven't compared and contrasted in terms of like what exactly is on the spec sheet from the Sony a7R III, what exactly is on the spec sheet from the Sony a7 III. But when I have an opportunity to use the Sony a7 III, I'll be able to, you know, sit and reflect and talk about what I liked about it and what I didn't necessarily like about it compared to the Sony a7R III. But it offers a lot of the same things, a lot of the same things. But the things that I'm necessarily looking forward to in this camera is the updated battery. A lot of people don't really talk about this, but Sony, like older model Sony cameras were significantly like the battery life was like awful. Like you had to carry around 5 batteries to be good. I was literally out in Vegas for like 3 or 4 days and I had 1 battery and I charged that 1 battery once. And I was able to produce that recap video that I put together. So the battery life on the Sony a7R III and the updated Sonys, the A9, I'm sure the a7S III will have the updated battery. The updated battery is amazing. Now, if they find themselves able to actually implement this new battery into the Sony a6000 series, that would be amazing as well. Now, I don't know if they would want to do that because it would kind of sort of mess up the form factor of the camera. Maybe they want to have that clear difference between the full frame line and the a6000 line. But who knows, if they're able to implement that battery into the actual a6000 line, that would be amazing. So definitely the battery. The battery is amazing. Another thing that I'm actually really, hold on real quick. Let me make sure I'm good on this. Hold on. It looks like this is messing up. Do you guys see any errors right now in the actual video and what's going on right now? It looks like this is like kind of messing up a little bit, but let me know in the chat real quick. Man, I'm trying to like get good at this live streaming thing, but it's a work in progress. So another thing that I'm actually really interested in checking out from this camera that I'm actually really psyched for is the better autofocus. Now, a lot of people have used the Sony a7S II. If you haven't used the Sony a7S II, if you use the Sony a7S II and then you use something like the A6 from the A6000 line, like the A6500, the A6300, you will instantly see how much better the autofocus is from the A6000 line. And I don't necessarily know too much about specs. I don't really look too much into it, but I think don't quote me on this. I think that the Sony a7S II uses the Sony a7S II uses contrast detection autofocus, not phase detection. If hopefully I didn't get that wrong, but they use two different types of autofocus. Now the Sony a7 III is looking to have an autofocus system that's very similar to the a6000 line, which is really good, because not to say that the autofocus on the a7S II is bad, but it's not great either. It's not the best. I think some of the best autofocus comes from the a6000 line. So having that really good autofocus in full frame, amazing plus on Sony's end. Another thing is something that's very simple. I think that the a7 III is gonna have a joystick. Now, a joystick is like super small, but like I've been using, I use my primary cameras that I use right now is a Canon 62. I use a Canon 62 for the YouTube videos and the YouTube uploads. So I'm actually using a 62 right now, and then I use the Panasonic GH5 for my music videos primarily. Now, one thing that is very small that I'm so used to doing and using is using a joystick, just navigating menus, navigating systems, and the fact that you're gonna have a joystick and be able to actually adjust and move to where you want to put the autofocus point at. That's amazing. Now, something so small, man. Little things like that really add to the cameras. Other than that, the APS-C mode, the APS-C mode on the Sony a7R III allows you to use the APS-C mode on the camera at 4K. Now the a7S II can do this as well, but the problem with the a7S II in comparison to the a7R III is that it can't do it in full 4K and have the full resolution output. So essentially, when you're using this APS-C crop mode, you're getting two focal lengths out of a prime lens or even a zoom lens. You're getting two different focal lengths out of a lens, and you know, that is amazing to me. When I had an opportunity to use the Sony a7R III, I only brought one lens. I only had one prime. I had the 28mm f2.0. So when I wanted to crop in and punch in closer using this lens, I was able to switch instantly. I set it to one of my custom buttons, and I would just push the button and it would zoom straight into APS-C mode, be full 4K. And then if you look at it like that, it's like, oh man, I could just carry one prime lens, get a wide focal length, get a close focal length. Now, what I'm reading right now, hopefully this is correct. I should have fact checked this, but I think that the Sony a7 III is also going to have this APS-C mode at 4K. Let me know in the chat if you know if this is correct or incorrect. Regardless, let me know, because obviously I want to be correct. The only thing that bums me out on the a7 III is the 1.1 crop in 4K. Well, I mean, 1.1 is not bad because you're still getting 4K, if that makes sense. So honestly, it might even be better. It might even be better, because look at it like this. You might get a little bit more range out of your lens if it is a 1.1. Let me know though. Let me know in the chat if you guys know specifically, if you know 100% that this crop mode, it's only 1.1 crop and 4K at 30 frames per second. It only goes to 30p. Okay. So it's going to 30p. So I mean, 30p is kind of like a 24 frames per second has no crop. Okay. Let me ask y'all something while y'all here. Have you ever shot at another frame rate and then dropped it into a 24 frames per second timeline and let it drop off the extra frames and play at 24 frames per second? Typically, that's what I do. I don't know if this is a professional thing to do, but this is what I do. Like if like when I used to vlog on like a G7X, the G7X only does 30 frames per second. What I would do is I would just set up a 24 frames per second timeline, drop that into a 24 frames per second timeline, and then just let it play at 24. So if I was going to be using this in that crop mode, that's how I would do it, regardless if it's 30p, if it's 30 frames per second, or if it's 24 frames per second. I would just drop it into a 24 frames per second timeline, if that makes sense. So, I mean, that's a quick workaround if you guys didn't know that. If you ever find yourself like where you don't know, like, man, I shot 30p, I wanted to still look cinematic, I wanted to still look real time, you could just literally drop it into a 24 frames per second timeline, and it'll drop off the extra frames. And this works at any frame rate above 24. I don't want to say 16 frames per second is gonna still look good, but like and this is like This is also a way how you achieve that look where it's going like real-time fast motion, and then you can cut it or you can speed ramp it to where you want it to smoothly transition into slow motion. This is done by just dropping it straight into a 24 frames per second timeline and then decreasing the speed, or cutting it at that spot and decreasing the speed. So the APS-C mode is a plus for me on this camera. Those are the things that I'm looking forward to. A lot of people are looking forward to more autofocus points and this and that and yada yada. But me, I shoot music videos, to be completely honest with you. If I were to actually get this camera, I would use it to I don't even think that I would shoot music videos on this camera. Not to say that it is worthy of shooting music videos. Not to say that it's not worthy of shooting music videos on it, but I just enjoy using the GH5. So if I were to purchase this camera, I would primarily use it for like my YouTube content, my vlogs, my in-house stuff, just because I like the full frame look. And I also really appreciate photography at full frame. So do I plan on purchasing this camera? No, but that's not because it's a bad camera. I just don't see myself spending the money on it. Should you buy this camera? Who's this camera for? Literally, I think that this is the best bang for your buck full frame camera that you can purchase. Now, again, this is essentially looking at it from a spec sheet. I haven't used this camera at all, but literally you get a 25 megapixel sensor. You get 4K up to 30p, 120 frames per second at 100 megabytes per second. You get the APS-C mode, you get the updated battery, you get the better autofocus, the joystick. Like, if I had a Sony a7S II, I would probably sell my Sony a7S II to get this camera, to be completely honest. The updates are amazing for the price point. So like, a few things that I don't necessarily like about this camera, looking at it from a spec sheet, that I have this problem with a lot of the Sony models, almost all of them. One thing that I highly dislike about the Sony models is the 60p at 1080 and the bitrate that they offer for that. I pray to God that Sony is able to implement a better bitrate at 60 frames per second at 1080 on the Sony a7S III. This is like one of the main things that I dislike about Sony's, because the 1080p at 60 frames per second, it's nowhere near as crisp. Like, a lot of these Sony models that they're producing now, they're downscaling a 6K down to 4K, and when you shoot 24 frames per second, the footage is so crispy. And then when you go to implement these 1080p 60 frames per second shots into it, you can see such a clear difference between it not being as crisp and sharp. So I think that Sony should definitely work on implementing the 60 frames per second in these cameras at a higher bit rate. This camera is the same. It's been the same in a lot of the recent Sony models. They're only offering 1080p 60 frames per second at 60 megabits. Like, this is not fast enough. This isn't enough. It's like, you need to at least go 100 or higher. Now the 120 does offer the 100, but it's a lot of scenarios where you're just not able to shoot 120 frames per second, just solely because it's not enough light there supplied for you to be able to actually double your shutter speed and get the actual smooth motion look. So it's like, they gotta figure that out. That's one thing that I don't necessarily like about this camera. Hopefully the a7S III will be able to improve this and actually make this work. But I mean, this has been a reoccurring thing in a lot of the Sony models: the a7R III, the a7R II, the a6500, the a6300, the a7S II, the a7S1. Like, this is like a thing that Sony is continuing to do. So hopefully we see a change in that in the near future. So that's like a huge thing for me. Like, they should definitely figure out how to make this happen. That's one of the reasons why I love using the GH5 so much. The bit rates on the slow motion are so high. It's such crisp slow motion that comes out of the GH5. And that's not even me being biased. I love the slow motion on the GH5, and I think that if Sony were able to actually implement better slow motion into their cameras, man, they would be killing the game, to be completely honest, especially at the price point. So the Sony a7 III has tons of features. It's coming in at $2,000. I think that by far it's the most bang for your buck full frame camera that you can get. If you're trying to get into full frame filming, if you're trying to get into full frame photography, this is the camera to buy, just because it offers so much. what you're getting for the price point, man. It's an amazing hybrid. It's like I honestly don't know why Sony would create this camera. It's like a direct competitor to the Sony a7R III. And it's like a lot of people that's like, man, why would I ever buy a Sony a7R III when I can buy this for $1,000 cheaper? So it's like, I don't get it. I don't get why Sony would do this. I just don't get it. Now, am I buying this camera? I'm not buying this camera. One, because I don't need it. I don't need it. But I think if you're trying to get into full frame video or photography, or if you're looking to upgrade your camera, you should definitely purchase this camera. Like, hands down. And this is me saying this from not even using it, but from a spec sheet and me just knowing what Sony typically offers in the cameras and the quality and the features and everything. Like, this is an amazing camera for the price. $2,000, you really can't beat it. It's no other full frame camera that's going to give you it's no other camera that's going to give you what this is offering for that price point. None. Like I said, like if I had an A7S II, I would probably contemplate selling that to buy this camera just because the updates are amazing. Like the battery in itself is just something that people aren't really even like, people aren't even really consuming how much better this battery is. But I'm not buying this camera. You should though, if you're trying to get into full frame shooting, or if you're looking for a full frame option at a good price, definitely. So I mean, that's my take on the Sony a7III. That's how I feel about it. I'm not gonna be buying it, but I definitely think that you should if you're interested in Sony cameras, or if you're trying to get into Sony, the Sony ecosystem for sure. But yeah, man, that's my take on it. If you guys have any questions, you guys want to talk to me in the chat, just do so right now. I'm down to answer any questions about anything. You can ask me anything. What's my favorite juice to drink? They should have priced it at $2,500. Not sure what Sony was thinking. Yeah, I think that I don't know what Sony was doing with that, man. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. What camera am I using right now? I'm filming this live stream on a Sony 60 Mark II. Sony a60 Mark II. Canon 60 Mark II. My bad. And I do a lot of my professional, like, primary music video stuff on the Lumix GH5. Mine should arrive on the 10th. Yeah, I'm trying to get my hands on one right now. I'm talking to a lot of people, just so I can test it out and give you guys a real world use of the camera. Because you can look at any camera on paper. You can look at any camera on paper and make an opinion about it. The use of using it, like the actual use of the camera, is something completely different. So take everything that I just said with a grain of salt, and make sure you test cameras out before you buy them, man. All your gear got destroyed except your camera and the editing system, but you have $1,000 to spend. What am I getting? So if I had a camera and I had my computer, what would I buy if I had that $1,000? Definitely a lens. You gotta get a lens, man. Something that got some range on it. If I had my GH5, I would probably try to get like a 12 to 35 Panasonic. You definitely need a lens. When's my next music video review? I haven't done one in a while. Hopefully I can get back into them soon. But I've just been doing a lot, and honestly, I really don't enjoy the process of it that much. I just got to get back in the mode of it. If you could only use one focal length, what would it be? Definitely 35 millimeters. That's my favorite focal length. My favorite focal length is definitely 1000% 35. What do I think Panasonic's next jump will be? Good question. I honestly have no clue what Panasonic is cooking up or what they have in their sleeve. I would love to see Panasonic jump into the Super 35 field, the APS-C field, the full frame field. Like, if Panasonic was able to produce a full frame camera that housed the features of the GH5, like, bro, that would be nuts to me, man. Like, that would be like the end all be all of like borderline cinema cameras. Not all the way cinema, but borderline for sure. Why not the GH5S? For me personally, I enjoy my GH5, and not to say that I don't enjoy what the GH5S offers. I just don't necessarily need what it offers. I don't do a lot of low light shooting, so low light doesn't really mean too much to me personally, but I do think that the GH5 offers a lot of stuff. And I just watched a video the other day from DSLR Video Shooter where he was showing like the different color differences in the GH5S, and it looks like they're actually ramping and actually trying to improve the color science in their camera. So thumbs up to Panasonic for that. But I don't personally see myself purchasing a GH5. I don't think I'm gonna purchase another camera until I actually get a cinema camera. Yo, Vince, I saw you trying to get that I saw you trying to give me that feature on Sarah's thing. That was dope, man. Appreciate you. What do I think of the Canon 1DX Mark II? I think that the Canon, my personal opinion, I'm kind of biased on the Canon side because I like Canon photography. I think that the 1DX is the best hybrid shooter, photography and film. From my standpoint, though, not because of what it offers. I just enjoy the actual use of Canon cameras. What camera settings do you use for your videos? Camera settings are really subjective. They really base off of a lot of different things, lighting, scenarios. It's just too much to really sit and give you a breakdown of settings. What do I think of the Panasonic G80, the G85? The G85 is cool. I like the G85. I've used it, but I definitely think the G85 offers a lot more than it. I'm waiting for the A7S III. By then, the A7III price should be dropping. Don't buy right now. I don't think it will, to be completely honest. I think they're two different cameras and they're two different markets that they're marketing to. Like, I don't see the A7S III coming out and then them dropping the price of the A7 III. They're just two different cameras. They're like, they're trying to sell to different people. You feel me? It's like, that's like the 5D Mark IV coming out and then them dropping the price of the T7i. Like, those are just two different markets for two different people, if that makes sense. So one thing that I see happening is the A7S II price is going down when the A7S III comes out. I don't see the A7 III price going down. But, you know, that's just my take. Who knows? It might happen. What lens would I recommend you buying on the A6300? It really depends on what you're trying to achieve. You know, some people like close-up lenses, some people like wide. Lenses are really subjective, to be completely honest with you. What's your setup right now? Streaming setup. I'm using a 60 Mark II, and I'm streaming it through the Elgato Cam Link, straight into the camera, into YouTube, into you guys. So I'm streaming on the 60 Mark II right now using the 24mm f1.4 L series lens. Hi from France. I discovered your channel. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. I work as a director at a news station and really want to go on my own, but I'm super nervous just to drop my job and go for it. Do I have any advice? I'm not telling you to quit your job, but you might actually have to invest the time that you need into your full-time gig. So it's like, if you can make it work, make it work. But if you're finding, if you're clearly finding the outweigh of clientele and money towards your personal thing outweighing your job, then definitely quit. Panasonic is gonna chill for a minute. My bad. Panasonic is gonna chill for a minute. They have the G9, the GH5S. Okay. I agree on the 1DX Mark II, but just too pricey. I feel you on that. Am I saving the stream? Yeah, the stream should be up later today. Do you think Canon will come out with anything groundbreaking this year? Canon's weird, man. I don't know. I wouldn't even say Canon's weird. I think Canon is really strategic on their business side of things. Like, briefly what I was saying earlier is like, I can't grasp in my mind why Sony would include all of this stuff into a model that's $1,000 cheaper than their A7R III. Like, I don't get that. And Sony's really good at this. Not Sony. Canon's really good at this because Canon is not going to offer you anything in a camera that's going to disturb the market of their cinema line or their higher priced models, if that makes sense. So a lot of people wanted 4K in a 60 Mark II, but if they offered that in a 60 Mark II, nobody would purchase a 5D Mark IV. And if they gave you full frame 4K and a 5D Mark IV, nobody would buy a 1DX Mark II. And if they gave you cinema features in a 1DX Mark II, nobody would buy the cinema line, the C200s, the C300s. So it's like Canon is really logical with their business tactics. Do I see them dropping anything groundbreaking this year for an affordable price? No, to be completely honest with you. What about the 1DX2 in 2018? I think the 1DX Mark II is still a dope camera. I've never used the 400 megabits per second on the GH5. I just don't have a memory card to support it. What up, peeps from Miami, Florida? Can't wait for the A7S III to drop. That's dope. I love your work. Thank you. Q Curry just dropped a super chat to me just to thank you for the continued content and creation from South Carolina. Hey, appreciate you, man. Road to Porsche memes. That's epic. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate that a lot. Where we at, man? Let me try to catch up. The 16 Sigma is a really dope lens. I haven't used it, but it looks like a really dope lens. Do I recommend purchasing Vlog? I do. Could send you on a stream, bro. I'm headed out. I got a photo shoot here shortly. Kill it, man. Make sure you kill the photo shoot. What cinema camera am I thinking about getting? I have a few in mind. One that I have in mind, the Canon C200. It doesn't offer what a lot of people want in a cinema camera, but for me, I actually kind of enjoy it. I don't know. I like the Canon workflow. I like the good colors that come out of the camera. I can put some amazing grays on Canon footage. Me not being an amazing colorist, but I enjoy the thought of being able to have Canon colors and Canon autofocus with a few cinema features like focus peaking and zebras and having built-in ND filters and stuff like that. And I also enjoy the thought of creating a cinema camera and not having to buy a lot of things to make the system work. So with Reds, if you purchase a Red, you got to get a lot of the things out of the ecosystem to make it work. Whereas if I get a Canon C200, like I'm pretty much ready to up and go straight out of the box. So definitely the C200 I've been thinking about. The Sony cinema cameras look really nice as well. The FS7s, stuff like that. And even the EVA1 looks like a really dope camera. I've been looking at tons of cameras, man. It's just all about me testing them out and seeing what I like the most. I'm thinking about next year the 7D Mark III will drop. And if they give it a half decent 4K codec, it would be a cool option for hybrids. Yes, definitely, man. Definitely. My bad. Why is the chat so small? I want the chat to be a little bit bigger. Hold on, let me pop the chat out real quick because I can't see what's going on. There we go. We can stretch that all the way down and see what's really going on. Canon does their own thing. They don't follow trends. Love your video advice, bro. Needs to action all the stuff I've learned from a video. Enough respect. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate that a lot. If you could have any camera now, which would you use for video? I don't know. It's a lot of cameras, man. It's a lot of cameras. A lot of good cameras. A lot of people are disregarding how good these cameras are that are coming out nowadays, man. So many good cameras. One of my biggest goals to achieve this year as far as being a director and videographer, I really want to do some different types of video work, like not outside of music videos, but I want to do some different types of music videos. So I think I'm really decent at doing like performance music videos, but those don't really captivate. They don't really grab you and make you not forget about them. So I want to do something that is like kind of groundbreaking, if that makes sense. So hopefully we can do that soon. Go for the C200B, man. I've been rocking it for 6 months now, and it's perfect for music videos, shooting raw and an MP. Yes, man. Doesn't it sound so like an amazing camera, man? Like for everything. Appreciate the super chat as well, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. What's your advice for starting a YouTube channel? Should you stick to one theme like tutorials? If I need motion graphics, let you know. I'll definitely hit you up on that, man. Thanks for the super chat. My advice for starting a YouTube channel is do something that you enjoy doing. Something that you can see yourself doing for a long time, and something that you have a pool of, if that makes sense. So it's like if you enjoy it, the really cool thing about YouTube is you can make a channel about anything. Like if you built keyboards, it's a community out there who loves keyboards, who would love watching you, build and fix keyboards. I've seen like people succeed on YouTube who are taxi drivers and they just talk about their lives. Like, you know, it's literally anything. So the cool thing about it is find something that you're passionate about and just continue to do it. But also making search-worthy content as well is going to really help you grow on YouTube. I wouldn't say bounce all around and touch on everything that's trendy and popping at the time. Just stay within your field, stay educated, and stay on what's new, and then you'll have an opportunity to put out content that people are actually searching for. Have I shot on the J85? I have. I shot a music video, but it never got released. I actually edited it down. I just never put it out, man. It just wasn't one of those videos that I was happy with. And it wasn't even because of the G85. The G85 performed excellent on the music video. Just the subject matter and the way I shot it, I just wasn't happy with. So I decided to scrap it. And I took a lot of the elements from the music video and put them into another one, which I'll be releasing here soon. So I did shoot a music video on it, but it never got released. What do I think about the 5D Mark IV? Do I consider it a great hybrid? I think so. I think the 5D Mark IV has really crisp 4K, despite the fact that it has a crop on it. the crop doesn't really bother me that much because I've always been a shooter who has used APS-C or like Super 35 for film anyway. So it's like when I want to switch to 4K, I can just put my APS-C sensor lenses on it, which is cool as hell to me. APS-C sensor lenses tend to cost a lot less, but that's just something that you got to think about. You don't get that full sensor at 4K, so just think about it. And also the file sizes are huge. That Kodak for the 4K on that Canon Mark IV, the 5D Mark IV is like super huge. Come to Kenya, I got fans out here. That would be amazing, man. How do you get your video so crisp like right now? Well, this is a live stream. This is straight out of the camera. This is on the Canon 60 Mark II. I think, I don't know. I think my videos could be sharper, to be completely honest with you. What would you say you truly found your style / starting pursuing video full time? I didn't have a style or a plan or anything. I was just doing it, to be completely honest. I think that's something that you eventually develop. It's not, it's like a lot of people wait for perfect scenarios to go for something, but it's never going to be a perfect scenario. Like if I waited until I got ripped to go to the gym, that's never going to happen. You got to work through it, and then you develop and find what you like and develop your own style. So what is my favorite outfit I love to wear the most? Favorite shoes and accessories. All right, so favorite accessories for me, I love these right here. This is a wood watch that Millie got me for Christmas. It's really cool. It has like a really dope loving message on the other side of it. And just, you know, regular bracelets, something not too loud. Favorite accessories, I always wear this, the arrowhead. I don't know, it means a little bit to me, but the biggest reason that I wear the arrowhead is because I don't really like to be loud. Like I went to the mall a couple months ago and I was gonna buy a gold chain, and I don't know. I just like to be low key with it, you know. So accessories right there. Favorite outfit for me, definitely track pants, just the tee. Track pants and the tee. Favorite outfit for me. My favorite shoes that I have right now. Good question. Probably my black cement 3s. I don't wear them that often, but that's just been my overall favorite Air Jordan ever. So my bad. Would you think selling my 5D Mark IV for the GH5 would be a good move? I think it would improve in video production, definitely in the features that it offers, but that's not to say that you can't get a good image from the 5D Mark IV. I don't think you switching to a GH5 is going to make your video production any better, to be completely honest. Just focus on the subject matter and the stuff that actually goes into your music videos or your video production in general. That will make it better. You get in a new camera that also shoots 4K is not going to make it better, to be completely honest. I'm curious if there are any new inspirations you've gathered in the past few months, whether it be a book. The Gary V Crushing It book, huge inspiration, man. I love what he's talking about in there. I love the subjects, and he has given me a new perspective on just creating, and the way that he looks at it and the way that he treats his fans and the different efforts and stuff that he outputs just to make people feel a certain way. Huge inspiration for me, man. So if y'all haven't checked out the Gary V Crushing It book, make sure y'all check it out. The T6, the T6 isn't the best camera in the world, but you got to use what you got to use, man. A right camera in the future, potentially, you never know. Where can I get a director hoodie? I don't plan to ever reproduce director hoodies again, but who knows? What is the best camera I can get for low light music video shoots? A7S2, definitely. Did the buyer of the gimbal come through? Yes, the gimbal was sold. When can it get full frame 4K? Game over. The C200 looks crazy interesting. Let me just kind of sift through these. Is your brand official or still under the table? And if it is, do you charge tax? Yeah, I pay taxes. I guess my brand is official. Do you mean is my business official? I guess that's what you're asking. Yeah, I pay taxes. Yeah, I'm a YCImaging LLC. Do you find your work going up with people asking to shoot social media clips, like 30-second ones? I've never shot a promo that has been specifically for a 30-minute clip, so I wouldn't necessarily know what to charge for something like that. What kicks do I have on right now? Ooh, what? Man, I gotta say, these are my favorite kicks. I've been wearing these since I bought these, yo. These are all I've been buying. These are my dirty Clarks, yo, and I literally put these on with anything. And my sole purpose for buying these was just to get them dirty. So I just put these on with any fit. Like, they just go with anything. They're cool. Like, if I'm going to a PTO meeting for my son, I got the dad swag. You know what I mean? So it's like, I got a lot of different fits, man. I got a lot of different shoes, but it really fits the moods and the circumstances of what I'm doing. If I'm going out to a club or a bar, you know what I mean, I might put on some Jordans. I might put on some 1s, some 3s or something. If I'm just kicking it, I might put on some runners. I might put on I might put on some racers. You know, you know, the swag switches, man. The swag switches. Do I always use indie filters? Yeah, the majority of the time I'm using indie filters. Which YouTubers do I follow? I actually follow a lot of YouTubers. A lot. I follow a lot of YouTubers, man. A whole lot of YouTubers. I'm switching from the GH5 for the a7III, wanting to get more into photography, and I wanted to get a full frame look. Luckily, I already have some APS-C sensor lenses for my 6300 to start off. That's dope. Is it just me, or has YC's goatee seem to get longer and better as he gets? Nah, I'm gonna cut this goatee soon, man. I've just been procrastinating. I need to go to the barbershop ASAP. Why the C200 and not the Ursa Mini? I mean, I just enjoy the look that comes out of Canon. I've never used the Blackmagic camera before. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll test it out, but sometimes you got to go for what you know, man. Like, man, sometimes you got to go for what you know, yeah. Who's your favorite director and photographer? Good question. Director, music video director, Colin Silly. Who's my favorite photographer? Who produces the images that I appreciate the most? I don't know, yeah. I don't know. I honestly have no clue. I'm just growing on YouTube. Check them out and tell me your opinions, guys. Yeah, check them out. The Sony 50mm or the Sigma 35 or the a7III. I like the 35 Art. I've never used that Sony lens, so I can't really say. I notice a lot of people are starting to jock what I use, but can't jock my style. It got under my skin for a bit, but talent triumphs, never copying. Ever had a situation like this? Yeah, all the time. I mean, me being in a spotlighted artist, a spotlighted director, just a spotlighted creative, I see it all the time. I see inspiration that I'm giving to other people, but it doesn't affect me at all, and I don't get salty about it, and I don't have any animosity towards anybody who copies me in any way, because it really doesn't matter. And I mean, for another thing is, I'm publicly putting out the styles and the different ways that I'm achieving these looks. So for me to get mad about somebody copying what I'm showing people to do would just kind of be hypocritical in a sense. So it's like, it really doesn't matter to me. We all have good cameras. We all got a GH5. We all got a GH4. We all got an A6300. We all got like, it doesn't matter. Like, the camera doesn't matter. The gear doesn't matter. The lighting doesn't matter. It's just all about the idea that you have in your head and how you want to achieve it. So I don't necessarily I don't care about it at all. Like, I publicly put out everything that I use. I publicly put out the effects that I use, how I color grade. Like, it doesn't matter. I can literally give you every single thing that I use and tell you how I do it, but you're going to produce a different image because we have a different eye. So I don't really care too much about it, to be completely honest. I've never played Assassin's Creed Origins before. Under $500 is better if you get a camera for your from your smartphone. Definitely. What's the best DSLR for under 500? If you're trying to do film, I would say a Panasonic G7. Do you use a jog shuttle to edit your videos? I have no clue what that is. Good night, YC. Keep ahead, waiting for your latest work. Thank you. Appreciate that. So look, I'm gonna get up out of here because I don't want to make this too long, and I just want this to live on my channel and not be super long. Obviously, if you're here for the a7III talk, it would have already happened, and then you could have just exit out of the video. But look, I'm gonna stay here for 5 more minutes, and then I'm gonna get out of here and hop on some Fortnite, man. Who's playing Fortnite? Like, who is consuming Fortnite for what it is? What if somebody literally started copying your video shot for shot and idea for idea, though? Like, if somebody did the exact same shot she did for the Jimmy G's video at the Waffle House. I mean, it's cool. It's whatever. Like, people are gonna copy. We're in a day and age where copying is It's just the thing. It doesn't. I'm not gonna like go out of my way. Now, if you take I've had this happen before. I've had people literally download a video that I've shot, take a piece out of the video, and put it inside of their video. Now, if you do that, I'm gonna file a copyright claim on you. But I mean, inspiration's everywhere. I've been inspired by stuff. Now, I'm gonna take the common courtesy and switch it up a little bit, or switch it up enough to where it's my own thing. But you know, I mean, eventually people are gonna like. You're gonna eventually have something in your mind where it's like, yo, I don't want to copy. I want to do my own thing. And me, even being a young director, not to say that I've copied other people, I've taken great inspiration from things that I've loved, and I've kind of recreated it myself. So that's gonna happen. It's like, it's whatever, man. It's whatever. Is the GH5 good enough for stills? The stills on the GH5 aren't bad, but they aren't the best either. I don't necessarily like them that much. I'm just a Canon guy though, man. That's just me. Fortnite for the win. Fortnite. Yeah, I'm on PS4 on the Fortnite. My favorite Netflix show. My favorite TV show of all time is Prison Break. I love Prison Break. But right now, what's going on? Dark. Dark is probably my favorite Netflix show. Dark is amazing, yo. I love Dark. Dark is probably one of the best Netflix shows for sure. Yo, before y'all leave out of this live stream though, can y'all like scroll up right now, please, to the top? If y'all on your phone, just scroll up and just hit the thumbs up while y'all here. Y'all might as well. Y'all already here. Like, don't thumbs it down. Don't be that guy. I also have a GH5. What picture profiles do you prefer? I use Vlog. Do I like any anime? Dragon Ball Z. I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I don't think that is necessarily classified as anime, but I think Avatar is one of the best cartoon series. Borderline Dragon Ball Z. A lot of people gonna hate me for that, but I think Avatar is amazing. Would I ever make a short film? I'm gonna make a short film. Do you believe buying 2 cameras? Do you believe buying 2 of the same cameras? Depends on the workflow. Have I watched Fresh Prince? Yeah, definitely. Who hasn't watched Fresh Prince before? When I shoot with my GH5, I got a lot of grain. How can I fix this? Adding lights to your shot, man. Use some sort of lighting, man. Lighting and learning to grade and crush your blacks. Noise typically sits in like your shadowed area, so if you learn how to hide your grain that you're getting, it's gonna be best for you. Do I have a rule of thumb for how long it should take for gear to pay for itself? No. I buy so much unnecessary stuff that probably never pays for itself. So just work within your means, man. That's all it's about. Work within your means, yo. That's all it's about. Guys, give him a thumbs up. He's taking his time out to do this. Dan the man. I love you, Dan. Let's get this to 200 likes. Hey, do I watch Atlanta? No, I want to start watching Atlanta. Because one of my favorite directors is actually promoting it heavy. So I just want to check it out for him because I love his work and he likes something I probably will as well. How do you like being YC? YC's cool, y'all. YC's cool. Y'all know me as YC. I would love to just transition into Christo or Christopher Rhodes. I think that would be amazing, but YC is just stuck. Maybe eventually though, man. Maybe eventually. I came in a little late, but did you mention your opinion on the GH5 versus the A7III? I briefly did. I touched on how I love the slow motion from the GH5 and the bit rates that it offers. But the A7III, I haven't used it. Nobody here has used it, I'm assuming. It looks like it's going to be an amazing camera for the price, for sure. Yeah, I got to watch Atlanta, man. I definitely do. I've never played soccer before. I would love to try to play soccer, though. I've never watched The Shy. Yeah, you got to watch it. Binge watch the first season. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to check it out for sure, definitely. Travel Fields changed his channel name. It's never too late. Man, yeah, it's a big jump, though, man. It didn't really bother me that he changed it. Just because he's been introducing himself as Mattias forever. But, man, that's kind of scary for me to switch over. Is there any group for black filmmakers? I don't know. Like where do you look for like groups? Like what do you like? Is that a Facebook thing? I don't use Facebook. Goku Frieza 18 will take Gyro in the Pound Town. I've been researching you on my college blog and refer to you as Christopher. That's dope, man. So am I buying the A7III? I'm not buying it. But I'm not gonna be buying a lot of the cameras that I'm talking about in these Gear Talk episodes. So if y'all continue to see me adding "Am I buying?" with a question mark and an exclamation mark, just know that it might be clickbait. Not because these cameras are bad. Man, your boy don't got unlimited funds, man, and your boy also has 2 cameras that he uses on the daily. So it's like, man, I'm not balling like that. I got a little bit of money, but you know, we can't be copping $2,000 camera bodies every month. It's just not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Should I sell the GH5 and get the A7III since I can't get the GH5 color science, right? Try it out. I would say rent the A7III and try it out. Then if you like it, make the swap. But definitely make sure you try it out. I don't use Facebook anymore. I'm from Jersey, trying to link with other black filmmakers and attempts. Yeah, I feel you, bro. Where should I go in CO? What's CO? What is that? What does YC stand for? YC stands for Young Chris, and it's really fucking stupid, but it's just something that stuck. Like, since I was like super young, that's just what people call me. So I kind of decided to try to put it into the thing. And I've been doing this since like 2000 and I've been doing this since, but even before 2010 with my graphic designs. I've been doing this since like with graphics 2005. So just using the same name, man. And I don't know. I want to switch it up. The A7III, the A7R3. Like I said, I haven't used it. I've used the A7R3. The A7R3 is an amazing camera. In order for me to, you know, ideally and realistically answer that question, I would need to use the A7III. The last movie I watched, Black Panther. Black Panther was the last movie I watched. Black Panther was amazing. Love that movie. Love Black Panther. I love that Black Panther stood up to the hype, man, because when you have movies that come out like that and then the hype is so strong for them, they kind of ruin the experience when you go see them, because you go in there with such a strong mindset and you go in there like, man, this movie better be fire. But yes, Black Panther was a really good movie. Any artists you would love to shoot at the moment? Tons, man. I got tons. But look, I'm gonna get up out of here, yo. Sorry if I did not make it to your question, but thank you guys. Humbly appreciate you guys for checking out this live stream and sitting here and watching me talk and yap about cameras that I'm not gonna buy. But I'm gonna put in an order today to get this here, to test it out, see what I feel about it, give you guys my opinion on it. We're definitely going to test this camera out, the A7III. I'm not going to be buying it, but if you're trying to get into the full frame game, if you're already in the Sony ecosystem, and you want something a little bit better than what's going on right now, make sure you check it out, man. Yeah, man, I'm going to get up out of here. I want to appreciate y'all for checking out the stream. Drop this a like while y'all are here. If you haven't already, don't drop it a dislike. Don't be that guy. And if you're checking this out from the replay, drop this a like as well. Ooh, you know what? YouTube now saves your chats in the actual chat so people can look at them while they're actually looking at the stream. So that's amazing. So if you just so happen to be watching this on the replay, make sure you look at the chat. Well, I guess if you're hearing me say this, then it would have already made it to the end of the live stream, and this is kind of pointless to say. But for the next one that you might check out in the future, just keep in mind that YouTube saves the stream chat, so you can go through the chat and look at the questions that I'm answering at the time that they're coming up. So look, man, I'm out, man. I appreciate all y'all for checking this out. Yeah, man, I'm gonna check y'all out in the next video, the next upload. Peace out, man. See y'all.